uh, Today I'll be explaining how a plunger was lodged up my ass. Um, so basically, I was taking a shit, and I used a lot of toilet paper. It was a big old shit, and it just wouldn't stop coming, and I just kept on using more toilet paper. And of course, once I was finally, my once the demons subsided from my anus, I was finally able to get off of the toilet. But then obviously it was clogged due to the amount of piss and shit inside of it. But that was no problem because there's the plunger right there. I just obviously use the plunger. Uh, so I go to actually grab the plunger, and well, all of a sudden, just like it just goes flying. It slips out of my hands. My hands are slippery from all the piss and shit, like soaking them. And I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do in this situation. So I try to grab the plunger, and I kind of bend backwards trying to catch it from the middle of the room where it like flew up and it slipped out of my hands. And as I was grabbing it, it actually spun around me and shot straight up my ass, and I fell onto it. And then I was, of course, forced to pull it out, because it would have been too expensive to go pay a doctor to remove it. So I just you slowly pull it out, and there's just shit and blood everywhere on the plunger because it went so far up my ass that I was just bleeding, and it everything was just there was just more shit coming out of my ass, like over. Oh my god, it was such a mess. It got all over it. And then at this point I was trying to sit back down on the toilet to contain the shit, but at that point it wasn't doable because the shit was at such a force that it was actually propelling me across the room, where I landed inside of the shower, where I proceeded to shit for a solid 5 minutes. And, then once I was up to my, I was laying down in the bathtub at that point, it was just filling with shit. And, it got up to, I guess, like, halfway up the bathtub. And I was almost drowning in my own shit. When, you know, it was, I finally, it started to go down the bathtub. Luckily, a lot of it was liquid, but it started to actually subside. But then the problem was there was all this solid shit that had gotten stuck onto the side of the bathtub. So also I'm just like covered in shit. My body, it's just there's shit everywhere. So of course I have to turn on the shower, wash all the shit off the shower and off of me. So I do that. But then the shower drain, it actually the sheer amount of shit inside of it causes it to clog. And then I have to grab the shit covered plunger and get shit all over my hand again. And then I simply what is it? I take the plunger. I try to use it, I started to use it on the bathtub's drain. Finally, after trying and trying, sticking my finger down a few times, I finally start to get some progress done. But then since my hands are covered in like this slick, moist shit and piss mixture that I've created, the plunger. It's all slippery again, and it actually, it slips again. I try to catch it one more time, but it instead of up my ass this time, it actually falls into my mouth, and there's a bunch of shit still on the plunger, so I start to just vomit profusely, and there's nothing but vomit and shit covering the entire bathroom at this point. So I jump back to the tub, into the tub to let my puke be released. After a good solid 1 minute of puking, the tub about I give it like 1/8 full of puke, just pure puke. I have to, of course, repeat the process. Luckily, the puke, it was more of a liquid, so I didn't have to actually unclog the shower drain this time. So after all of that, I take another shower after cleaning the entire bathroom up of my puke and shit that has been put all over, even on the plunger. I was finally able to clean that up, and I just put some really fucking like just duct tape. I just put duct tape inversed around the entire handle of it, so it can't be slippery and slip out of my hands anymore and go up my ass or fucking down my mouth. And then after all that, I was finally able to leave the bathroom, go, get dr- dry off, get dressed, go into my room. But then the plunger, it opens the door, and it wants another round. It just doesn't stop. So I have to fight it back. I have to barricade my door. I have to kick the plunger, barricade my door, and it only lasts. The door is barricaded. It can only hold for so long before the plunger just destroys it. Goes straight through it, straight into the room, and it's just there now. It's in the room, and I'm trying to hide. I'm trying to hide under the bed, but it just slides under. It just starts to roll down under the bed. So I get out from under the bed, and then I'm thinking what I can do. So I see if the window, if it's easier to like break off the screen. Then I realized I didn't want to jump, so I tried to go out the door, but the hole the plunger had made through the barricade, and when I couldn't get through it. The plunger just pierced straight through it like a bullet, and there was no way for me to get through because the door was all barricaded. So I was forced to jump out the window and hopefully, like, hope for the best. Which luckily I didn't break anything when I jumped, running from the plunger. Then I had to get away from the house, otherwise the plunger, it was gonna get me. So I just kept on going, but it just kept coming. It just was always there, constantly, constantly. Oh my gosh, but where was I? Oh yes, before I was interrupted. The plunger, it's chasing me. It's chasing me. I have to keep going, otherwise it's gonna get me. And I just run and run, and I'm running from the plunger as fast as I can, but it's just fucking rolling and rolling at an incredible speed. It's on the road though, because the road, it's smoother, so it's just going down the road. So I just try to cut through some grass to where the plunger can't get through as fast. Um, and it works for a second, but the plunger just comes around, and then I don't know what to do at this point. So I'm just looking for a way to just either escape or destroy the plunger. And is if I grab it, well, that would be a good idea, but it might just go into another one of my orifices if I get near it again, because it's just covered in duct tape now, so it's not as slippery. So I have to, like, if I grab it, I have to get it right the first time. Otherwise, it's gonna like get stuck in whichever hole it goes in. It's just, and there's not many left. It went down my mouth. It went down. It went up my ass. The only places it would have gone is through my fucking ears, into my brain, or through my penis. And I didn't want either of those. So I kept going. I didn't want to get near it. So I just kept going and going. And finally, I got stuck in a dead end. So I was forced to confront this plunger that was just chasing me. And luckily enough, there was actually like other people there, so they were witnessing this, and they were kind enough to attempt to help. But it wasn't gonna work. The plunger up this one dude's ass. It just all the way through to his mouth. And he was just dead. The plunger killed him. The plunger just murdered him. And I don't know. The plunger, it was just killing everyone. It was just doing that to everyone. Like, eventually the police were called as I was like trying to hide in someone's house, or like in someone's yard or whatever. I was hiding from this plunger. The police finally got there and shot it. They shot it because the taser didn't work. So they had to shoot it 27 times before it died, before it just stopped moving. So that's the story of how uh, I almost got killed by a plunger. Um, I hope you guys enjoyed today's story time, and tomorrow's video hopefully will be released tomorrow and not in a week. Anyway, I need an outro. Something that'll get me canceled. Ka-chigga!